everybody here. Good morning. I'd like to call to order the Regional Transportation Commission meeting to order on March 11th, 2021. First, I'd like to acknowledge all the board members who are joining us via call-in and note who's present in the chamber. Maren?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. For our board members who are calling in, if you would please confirm your attendance as I call out your name. Mayor Pro Tem Stavros Anthony. He's connected. Mayor Pro Tem, are you on the line?
I am. Can you hear
Thank
me?
Yes, we can. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
We also have present in the chambers Mayor Pro Tem Isaac Barone, Councilman George Galt, Vice Chair Justin Jones, Chairwoman Deborah March, Mayor Kiernan McManus, Commissioner Tick Sagerbloom, and Director Christina Swallow. With that, Madam Chairwoman, we have a quorum of members. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mader, I'll now turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chairwoman. And members of the board, the first item is to conduct your first citizens participation period.
Thank you, Ms. Maynard. This is the first time set aside for public comment. This time is limited to comments on items included on the agenda. Those who wish to speak on a posted agenda item, now is your opportunity. Please come forward to the microphone and provide your comments and state your name for the record. Do we have any comments? Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak, or do we have anyone that called in with something? Yes.
We don't have any for this time period. We have some for the end, though.
Thank you. So, let's see. To allow for further participation during the pandemic, RTC has been accepting public comments via email, but I understand that we don't have any. Thank you. If there's no other comments, we can close the public comment portion of the meeting and move on to the next item.
Great.
Ms.
Thank you,
Maynard?
Chair. Thank you, Chairwoman. The next item is to approve the agenda. In order to accommodate another event, staff recommends hearing items out of order and as follows. Immediately following this item, consider the consent agenda consisting of items 5 through 40, followed by item 41, the evaluation of the CEO's performance. Then hear item 3, the CEO report, item 4, the NDOT director's report, item 42, our standing legal item, and close with item 43, the final citizens participation period.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments, or can I have a motion to approve the agenda? We have a motion on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And anyone opposed, nay. And that motion carries.
As mentioned, thank you, Chairman. As mentioned in the previous item, next on the agenda is to approve the consent agenda. This consists of items 5 through 40 and can be taken in one motion.
Thank
I just
you.
said that one, didn't I?
Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Does anyone wish to pull anything? Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? We have a motion on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, nay. And that motion carries.
Thank you, Chairman. Item 41 is to evaluate the performance of the CEO for the period of November 14th, 2019 through December 31st, 2020. And Ms. Decretia Harris, our acting director of human resources, will introduce the item.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman and members of the board. This item is to evaluate the performance of the Chief Executive Officer for the period of November 14th, 2019 through December 31st, 2020. Formulate recommendations on management goals and objectives for 2021, and adjust compensation or take action as deemed appropriate. On November 12th, 2020, the RTC board appointed then Vice Chair Deborah March, Councilman George Galt, and Commissioner Jim Gibson as members, with Mayor Carolyn Goodman as an alternate to serve on the Evaluation Committee to review the performance of the CEO. On January 27, 2021, Chair March, Councilman Galt, and Mayor Goodman met to evaluate the 2019 through 2020 performance of the CEO and provided guidance for the next evaluation period. At this point, I will turn it back to Ms. Maynard to give a brief presentation and then to the board for action.
Ms. Maynard?
Great, thanks, Lucretia. Commissioners, today's presentation will be a brief overview of our key accomplishments in 2020 and how we navigated this pandemic with your leadership. So as an agency, we were forced to redirect our attention to addressing health and economic impacts of the pandemic. And although this past year has been filled with many challenges, one thing remains the same. I share the same hope and excitement that I did when I took on this role, because while the world has changed, our priority of serving the public has not, and it really has only deepened as we've watched many in our community suffer. So in the interest of time, I'm going to list some noteworthy accomplishments, but there's much more in the report that we provided you. So accomplishments in this presentation, they revolve around our continuing areas of focus for the RTC to include our COVID-19 efforts, innovation, planning, sustainability, and safety, and community engagement. As a team, we were agile in our approach and spent most of 2020 responded to COVID-19 related efforts, including preparing the final budget for fiscal 21, in which we cut approximately $40 million in operating and capital expenses. We developed and implemented a 14-point COVID-19 safety education plan and developed a data dashboard on our website in order to remain transparent and accountable to the community. We implemented safety measures and enhanced cleaning practices on behalf of our customers and staff that included social distancing measures and retrofitting driver enclosures on our buses in order to ensure that they were as safe as possible. We collaborated with 3 Square to deliver more than 3,700 food boxes to homebound, low-income seniors, and we added Silver Star Transportation Service to serve more senior population communities. And while we were definitely busy responding to COVID-19 related efforts, we still focused on leveraging technology to enhance our services, including implementing an adaptive signal control technology pilot program in partnership with the City of Henderson and Clark County along 14 intersections on Eastern Avenue. This technology uses real-time information that can help make traffic signals operate more efficiently. We launched the RTC Cash to Mobile solution that enables transit customers, even our unbanked transit customers, to purchase passes with cash on their smartphones. This really levels the playing field for all customers who want to travel more safely in a contactless manner. We formed partnerships with Uber and Transit to allow customers to more seamlessly buy their transit passes without having to download another app. And in fiscal 20, more than 15,000 passes were sold on those platforms with this partnership. And we implemented a live real-time detour notification system to communicate directly and quickly with thousands of customers via text, email, and social media. This way, transit riders are now alerted in real time about transit delays, detours, and special events. They can get to work on time. They can plan their trips more effectively. And as the MPO, we also plan long-term roadway and transit projects by forecasting the region's growth and needs over the next 30 years. And some of our key accomplishments include the development and adoption of the Access 2050 Regional Transportation Plan that includes strategies and projects to improve safety, manage congestion, promote alternate modes of transportation, and also promote economic development between 2021 and 2050. We continued our role as administrator of the Southern Nevada Strong Regional Plan, or SNS, and for the first time, we were able to include transportation-related work in the UPWP, or Unified Planning Work Program, which secured federal funding reimbursement for staff and project support. So we were, again, able to save money, looking for ways to be as efficient as possible. We also completed onboard, and as most of you are aware, the plan helped identify and prioritize our community's mobility needs, which has allowed us to develop a financial plan that is currently underway and something we'll share with you this year. And we continued the Maryland Parkway Bus Rapid Transit Project. The preliminary engineering phase is scheduled to be completed in mid-2021, and the RTC will apply for federal funding to pay for a portion of the project. The construction is anticipated to begin in 2023 and to be complete in late 2024. And as one of the largest multifunctional transportation agencies in the country, we remain committed to helping create a cleaner, safer, more efficient transportation network. Some of the 2020 accomplishments include we are currently working on a renewable natural gas partnership with Southwest Gas. This partnership would reduce greenhouse gas emissions and potentially save the agency up to $2 million a year. We also were awarded a grant to buy 2 fuel cell electric buses. And then we started working on a fleet replacement plan that will work towards transitioning our bus inventory to zero-emission vehicles. We streamlined the management of our federal grants process, and we're able to increase the number of grants applied for by 50%. So applying for grants is going to continue to be a very big priority for the agency. We've been awarded about $10.1 million to date. We upgraded lighting at nearly 1,100 shelters across the valley, installed standalone solar lights at 300 stops without bus shelters, and installed 65 new bus shelters at locations with older shelters. And in partnership with NDOT, among others, we also secured a $6 million federal grant to expand our existing integrated safety technology corridor to include emerging freeway technologies to help mitigate traffic and enhance roadway safety. And the pandemic effectively shut down public events and in-person engagement, so the RTC redirected our efforts to digital platforms. You know, we work on behalf of our community, and the need to engage them early and often regarding our various initiatives, even more so in the extenuating circumstances of 2020. So some of those efforts included engaging in more than 150 community events, public meetings, and speaking engagements that reached more than 20,000 people, no small feat in a pandemic. Promoted our community and customer engagement platform through our blog, social media, and marketing database that allowed us to collect more than 140,000 email addresses from active subscribers. And as you're aware, we developed and launched the Resources Involvement Support Education Program, otherwise known as RISE. It's really designed to help connect Nevada's small and diverse businesses to all RTC-funded transportation contracting opportunities. And I also want to say thank you to you, our board. This past year has not been easy, but you have given us your vote of confidence and have empowered us to continue to put our community first. In 2021, I look forward to continue to work with you as my bosses and my mentors. Your input has been invaluable to me and has helped guide us as an agency, and we look forward to reimagining what 2021 can be. And finally, I want to acknowledge and thank the team of the RTC. They are a group of passionate and dedicated employees, some of the most competent people I've had the pleasure of working with. Every accomplishment that I just shared with you has been a team effort, and every success this agency has experienced is because of this hardworking team. I'm really honored to know them and work with all of them, so thank you.
Thank you very much. The Evaluation Committee discussed the performance of Ms. Maynard for 2019 through 2020. Ms. Maynard presented a report on the past accomplishments, where we are today, and looking forward. At the request of Ms. Maynard, there will be no adjustment to salary compensation at this time. I do want to thank you for your leadership, especially during these challenging times. You've proven to be the right person at the right time here leading RTC through this difficult period of uncertainty. Of the many accomplishments, it's important to recognize the great work that you and your staff have done in response to COVID-19. The federal grants that you've brought in and the many different innovations and technology pilots that you've embarked on that's enhancing our transportation network. I'm so grateful for your leadership during these challenging times, and so thank you very much.
Thank you,
And I
Madam Chair.
did want to point out that Commissioner Goodman wanted to make some remarks. She had to leave. She's very grateful for your leadership and said nothing but rave reviews for your
Thank you.
performance and
Thank you.
asked me
Means a
to
lot.
share that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, any feedback? Or Commissioner?
Yeah, Ms. Maynard, I just wanted to say, the best way to say it, I'm not going to count the words because I'm not good at math. Didn't miss a beat. Didn't miss a beat. It was 4 words. There we go. Didn't miss a beat. Your predecessor was an amazing leader, and I knew, of course, you'd been with the organization with some time. You got to work underneath her. You have a fantastic team around you that's taken years to assemble, from your legal team to operations, and I think everybody else that goes along with it, our contractors. Didn't miss a beat, and the way the RTC shifted gears to meet the challenges of a global pandemic, not just a slowdown in our economy, right? It was exemplary, and I think a lot of it has to do with, again, with this amazing team around you, and you there, steady at the helm. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Commissioner?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to echo those sentiments. I'm new to the board, but I got to spend time with you and your team yesterday. And the hallmark of a great leader is putting together a great team. And I just want to compliment you for doing that, and the entire team for all you guys do.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioner. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Commissioners? Commissioner?
I would just agree with Commissioner Barone on this, that my time here, there's certainly very smooth transition, even during a pandemic. And this organization is certainly a benefit to all of Southern Nevada.
Thank you, Mayor.
And it's your direction.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. And like Justin, I haven't been around very long, but I know the future is public transportation. That's your background. So what I've seen so far, you survived the worst year in history. So if you can just take that and go forward, it's fantastic. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Anyone else? Commissioner?
I'd certainly add to that. I think the development of a staff, the transition, the ability to look forward is most impressive to me. So thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you very much. Thank you for the words.
If there's no other questions or comments, do we have a motion to accept the presentation and the CEO's request for no adjustment to salary compensation? We have a motion on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. And that motion carries.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you so much. Up next on the agenda is to receive the CEO report. To begin, we have two outstanding operators we'd like to recognize. The first is Alvin Eston, who works for our contractor Keolis, and Deputy CEO Francis Julian surprised Mr. Eston one day at the end of his shift.
Thank you, MJ. What great operators we have. This is such an exceptional story. Alvin Easton, while driving his bus, saw two young women being abducted by a male trying to pull them in a van. Yet he stopped his bus, took the two women, brought them to safety inside his vehicle, and was able to take the license plate of the van to call Metro. Alvin, on behalf of all of us, thank you so much. Let's go and surprise him. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the award. I really appreciate working for the company, and I'm glad I was able to help that night. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's wonderful.
That is a brave hero. Second, we'd like to recognize Deborah Travis, who drives for our contractor MV Transportation, and Francis presented her with the award during her shift.
Thank you, MJ. We're here to recognize Deborah Travis. Deborah has been on the job for an amazing 27 years. She's always recognized by her big, beautiful smile, and she's got a really easy motto. Treat people with respect, and it's going to come back tenfold. So let's go and surprise Deborah. Deborah, hi, I'm Francis Yu, and we've met in the focus group. I'm the Deputy CEO for the RTC. I'm here to nominate you for the Crystal Bus for your amazing attitude and all your years of service. Congratulations!
Is Deborah with us now? Deborah, I wonder if you'd stand up and so we can recognize you.
Thank you.
Thank you. MJ.
Thank you, Ms. Travis. That is really not an easy job, and she does it so well. So thank you so much. Next, we'd like to provide you with an update from our traffic management team. FAST manages the freeway and surface transportation network in Southern Nevada on behalf of the state DOT and local jurisdictions to keep traffic flowing as smoothly as possible. So I'm going to hand it over to John Punuelos, our Senior Director of Engineering, and Teresa Geiser, Director of FAST, to tell you about the current state of our traffic system and upcoming projects. And so, Teresa, you can take it from here.
Thank you.
Thank you, MJ, and good morning. Good morning, Madam Chairwoman and members of the board. Today we are going to be giving the first of the State of the System of FAST for 2020. Some of the things that we'd like to discuss today all focus around our emphasis for our traffic management system. They follow what we call the TSMO principles, which are transportation system management and operation. This is how we focus on optimizing the existing traffic infrastructure by improving safety, preserving capacity, and managing congestion. To start off, we're going to discuss the traffic signals here in the Southern Nevada region. Currently, there are 1,577 traffic signals. Broken down by agency, City of Las Vegas has 629, Clark County following right behind at 580, City of Henderson has 184, North Las Vegas 168, and Mesquite 13. Some of the things we wanted to share are how we run the traffic signals here in Southern Nevada. This is a coordinated traffic signal system. We run different time of day plans. Particularly, we focus on midday, AM, PM peaks, as well as weekend plans. Our typical traffic signal cycles range between 120 to 180 seconds. And again, that is based on both the geometry out at the intersections, as well as the traffic volumes and pedestrian activities in that area. In the year of 2020, we did, at a minimum, 3 traffic signal timing adjustments to all of the traffic signals here in Southern Nevada, which is a little excessive, but it was driven because the volumes were shifting continuously during COVID restrictions, and we wanted to make sure that the traffic signals were timed accordingly. One of the facts I'd like to share with everybody regarding traffic signals here in Southern Nevada. First responders such as law enforcement and the fire department have the ability to preempt traffic signals to provide them green signals in their direction of travel. In the year of 2020, there were over 800,000 traffic signal preemptions to the system. So that's the 1,577 traffic signals were preempted 800,000 times. Some of the other things that FAST also handles is the intelligent transportation, also known as ITS devices here in Southern Nevada. FAST operates and maintains thousands of ITS devices on behalf of the state DOT as well as local agencies. Some of these, just to name a few, include the new active traffic management signs, or arrow over lane displays as they're also known as. Ramp meters along the freeways. There are 77 different ramp meters here in the Southern Nevada region. There's also 900, a little bit over 900 CCTV cameras, which are used to verify incidents and monitor traffic congestion and flows. Additionally, there are flow detectors, dynamic message signs, check stations used by Nevada Highway Patrol, weather stations, wind warning systems, and other devices. The data coming in from these devices are used by FAST to help FAST make data-driven decisions to improve traffic operations in the Southern Nevada region. Here's just a quick snapshot of what 2020 looked like in terms of the traffic incidents managed by FAST. So you can see that we handled a little over, again, oh, you can't see it on this one. There was over 7,000 incidents managed by FAST in 2020. This included construction, crashes, incidents, others. Others and incidents include things like vehicle fires, power outages, road hazards, and disabled vehicles. One of the items that I wanted to share with everybody is our incident management platform. This is called Waycare. You can see here is a live snapshot of an incident that had occurred on the freeway where we have a motorist turn the wrong way on a freeway, and also to the right-hand side, you can also see the vehicles that were also involved in this incident. What we are doing here at the Traffic Management Center is that we are monitoring these incidents as the information is coming in through 911 or other sources. We are then logging that information into the Waycare platform and sharing this with both the 911 first responders and the Nevada Highway Patrol. This management platform, Waycare, allows us to actually pinpoint with a GPS marker the exact location of where the incidents occurred, as well as share a snapshot of this camera view directly to the troopers as they are out on patrol, as well as the Nevada Freeway Service Patrol units. This allows them to know exactly what they are about to encounter as they're approaching and arriving at the scene. Some of the things I wanted to share regarding the Waycare platform. This platform launched in late September of 2017 as a trial demonstration. Since that time in 2017 till the end of 2020, there has been more than 25,000 unique incidents logged into the platform by the FAST team. Prior to 2017, with Waycare Platform coming on board, we had only had the information coming in from the 911 dispatchers who are down at the Traffic Management Center with the FAST team. So after that, Waycare was also bringing in real information, live time, that was happening out of the roadways. This was coming in through social media. This was coming in through third-party partners like the Waze app. And all of this allowed us to track additional incidents that were happening, not just on the freeways, but also on the local roadways. So now, right now, the mix is more like 25% incident information coming in through the Waycare platform to 75% coming in still through the 911 dispatchers. Prior to Waycare, we were capturing about 3,000 crashes a month in our previous incident management platform. We are currently capturing roughly 600 crashes a month in the Waycare platform with the same amount of staff that we have down at the Traffic Management Center. Overall, there's been about a 9-minute incident, faster incident identification time using this platform. For 2020, the FAST team has worked on its public engagement. Some of these measures that we have been focusing on is both getting information in from the public, both through phone calls, email, social media, the Seeing Orange website, as well as the Ask FAST. And we've also been sharing information out to the public using both dynamic message signs, active traffic management gantries, the Waze app, and Gov Delivery. In 2020, the FAST team in total put out 1,200 engagements to the public, which included almost 9,000 traffic alerts via either text, emails, or tweets. Dynamic message signs, unique dynamic message signs at just about 3,000, and we also fielded roughly 160 signal complaints. Some of the other items I'd like to share with everybody, talking about some of the work that FAST has been doing, focuses around roadway technology projects. Again, this is how we can leverage technology to improve mobility and enhance safety on our roadways. We have been working closely on special events coordination, even though we know that plans were obviously delayed at many facilities this year. We work closely with Allegiant Stadium to make sure that we are ready for when they do have fans in the stands and do have live events, as well as T-Mobile, the Las Vegas Convention Center, and the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. As of just this past weekend, we were working very closely with them on their events on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. One of the items that Ms. Maynard also mentioned in her CEO evaluation was the Adaptive Signal Control Technology Project. We piloted the study out on Eastern Avenue in coordination with both City of Henderson and Clark County. It was for 14 intersections along Eastern from Beckler to Pebble. And some of the things that we wanted to mention about this project is that this project allowed real-time traffic information to be shared, and for that information to then change the signal timing as it was occurring to handle the demands and the queues throughout the day continuously, rather than how we currently run it, which is time-of-day patterns, as I had mentioned. The interim results of this report have shown a 25% reduction in travel times along this corridor. This project started in October of 2020 and just finished wrapping up in February of 2021. Here's just a quick interview from that. Let me go back and try one more time. Thank you.
Today's Cone Zone takes me out here to busy Eastern Avenue right at Serene, where traffic is anything but serene, as the RTC is working on a pilot program to try to keep traffic flowing a little bit better using adaptive signal technology, trying to make these traffic lights stay green as long as possible.
Right now, what we're seeing is about a 25% reduction in travel time along this section of the Eastern Corridor that comprises 14 traffic signals.
Those 14 intersections start from Pebble Road to the north and go all the way down to Becker Drive to the south, crossing major streets like St. Rose Parkway, Horizon Ridge Parkway, and many streets in between using adaptive signal control systems. The technology uses cameras and special software to monitor traffic flows in real time with the goal of making your commute a bit quicker along Eastern Avenue.
Any time savings is definitely an improvement, and that's what our goal is, to see if we can gain efficiencies along a heavily traveled corridor like Eastern.
The Cone Zone decided to put the pilot program to the test by driving through all 14 intersections along Eastern Avenue. We set the stopwatch and started driving northbound from Becker Drive all the way past the 215 freeway to Pebble Road, and it took us exactly 5 minutes to drive through the busy corridor. Now going southbound, we started at Pebble Road and briefly got stuck at the 215 traffic light, but the rest of the drive flowed well all the way up the hill to Becker Drive, taking us exactly 5.5 minutes, which was 30 seconds longer than going northbound.
It seems relatively balanced between southbound heading down towards Anthem and northbound heading towards the 215.
I did ask the RTC about traffic volumes along Eastern Avenue and if the reduced traffic flows have any effect on the pilot program.
On the whole, we were seeing only about a 10% reduction right now in traffic volumes over previous years around the same time. To us, that's exactly what we were hoping for, because an adaptive system is going to be able to handle that range of demand and that range of variation.
The Cone Zone does believe the new adaptive traffic light technology is making a difference along Eastern Avenue, but what is unclear is if the system will truly work as designed once traffic volumes along Eastern Avenue eventually return to normal. I'm Ken Smith, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
And then one additional system I'd like to mention at this time that came on board in 2020 was the Active Traffic Management System. This was part of the Project Neon. It was installed along I-15 and US 95 as part of NDOT's Project Neon, and RTC manages it closely along with cooperation from Nevada Highway Patrol. This system is intended to give information to the motorists as they're driving along this corridor, to give them details about incidents ahead, lane restrictions, variable speed limits, as well as congestion. This system went live in March of 2020, and overall, we have seen many benefits from the system, including in the past year. We have utilized the HOV lane open to all 149 times to assist in the management of incidents along this corridor. With that, I'm going to turn over the rest of the presentation regarding work zones and lane closure detection to Senior Director of Engineering, John Penuelas. Thank you.
Before we turn it over to John, I just wanted to state that we understand that we may be experiencing some technical difficulties with the live streaming. We're still on TV and still recording. We'll be sure to get an updated recording posted online immediately following the meeting. Thank you. JP?
Yes, thank you, Chairwoman March, members of the board. John Penuelas for the record. And I want to talk to you for a few minutes about our work zone and lane closure detection program. You might be wondering why something like that would be important. The basic answer is that work zones, as you know, because you drive around out there, affect absolutely everything that we do, from how we operate the transit system to the signal system that Teresa's team works on, emergency response, freight, the movement of freight. And work zones also, of course, create unusual conditions, potentially dangerous conditions, that when people don't do the right thing, pay attention, that can create a hazardous situation, not only for the motorists and the bicyclists and the pedestrians, but also the workers, the people that make their living in the street. And that's precisely why all of the agencies permit the work that's going on in the street. They have to abide by certain conditions. So we know, the agencies know where the permits are, and we, of course, know where the projects that are under construction are. The difficulty is, it's such a dynamic environment, to know exactly where the lane closures are at any one time and the effect that they're having. That's the trick. So the the concept is based around basically three ideas. The first one is what we call smart work zones. Not a new concept. They use them on freeways, have been for years. We're taking those concepts and putting them onto the surface streets. So we're using the technology in a little different way. Basically, these devices broadcast out to the world, to the public, to us, where they are and what they're doing and what effect they're having. The second piece of the puzzle is the work we're doing with a company called Nexar, and they have a dash cam, an interconnected dash cam that are on privately owned vehicles, typically Lyfts and Ubers, commercial vehicles like that. That video stream goes up to very smart computers, and those computers can identify work zones in real time and then feed that information to us. And then finally, we have devices we're working with a company called Alert, where devices are put on the construction vehicles themselves, and those broadcast out to us and the public when the work zone itself is active. So those three things give us a very good picture of what's going on out there. Now, it might surprise you to know, but there are on any given day between 400 and 500 what we call impactful work zones out there at any one time. Now, you might have thought that the number was even larger, maybe 1,000 or 2,000. But on this particular day, there were 411. And what's important with this slide, and what's important to understand, is prior to about a year ago, we had no way to directly measure this. The agencies could certainly estimate it based on the permits, but those permits are essentially windows in time in which the work zone itself or the lane closure itself is permitted. When they are actually out there at any given time is what we really need to know, and that's what the public really needs to know, and that's hard to do out of just the permit itself. So, as we all know, if you can't measure something, you can't manage something. So this is the basic fundamental piece of the puzzle. Where are they, and what are they doing? Now, if you were to click on one of those 411 dots, you're going to see something like this. This is downtown, and you're going to see that those white rectangular boxes around the orange traffic control devices, cones, that's the computers saying, hey, I think I see something that is a cone, and that is in fact true, and it's in this case, a left lane closure that's protecting over there into the left-hand side an outdoor dining event. So this is downtown, might not have that much implications to traffic, as far as causing congestion, but it's something that Teresa's team needs to know, and that picture is invaluable, and we can get that. Here's an example downtown Las Vegas, where some cones have been orphaned. That happens every once in a while. Now, if the inspectors for the city of Henderson at their desks were to have access to this picture, they could pull the permit, find out who was last out there, call them up and say, hey, come get your cones, they're blocking our parking spaces, or we're gonna take them for you because we need those parking spots. And then finally, this is an example of a cone. It's not actually blocking the bus stop, but it is in fact causing that bus to come out of the lane, and that can cause problems, obviously. So there are procedures in place that do work well, where the contractors and the barricade companies have to notify our transit operations people when work zone is going to impact a bus stop, naturally. The problem is that, number one, that's a very dynamic environment, like I've said, and they could have a permit, but the cones are being moved around every day, and sometimes they are put in places where they're not supposed to be. So this technology will help us find those before, hopefully, the driver finds them and has to do something that is unexpected to our customers. We want to find these things hours in advance and make the proper modifications and detours and get the notice out. So this helps us find those cones that are unexpected. So the second part of the puzzle is the smart work zone concept, the devices in the work zone. This is a current work zone that's out on Camino al Norte. Aggregate Industries is doing the work. It's a big rehab project. Road Safe is the barricade company, and they have these devices out here. Each one of these little icons represents a smart work zone device that is telling us where it is and what it's doing. There are arrow boards that are indicating that the lane is closed. There are barrels that indicate the beginning and ending of the work zone. And if you look about a third of the way up, there's a gray box, and that is a pan tilt zoom camera. If you were to click on that, you are going to get this. Now this is a recording of a live stream. I didn't want to be up here with a live stream and have some glitch. But this is really important because this, well, number one, this is proprietary information. This live stream is coming from a piece of equipment that's owned by RoadSafe. So we have access to it, via their cooperation, and the agencies could have access to it as well. So it's really important that we have eyes on the field, and this can be moved around and we can see what the heck is going on out there. Now, this illustrates the final point on why this work zone detection issue is important, and it's at the federal level in support of the connected and autonomous vehicle endeavors that are going on out there. You can see here that the cars coming at us are driving on the wrong side of the road. Why? Because the right side of the road, in this case on the left side of the median, is under construction. So if an autonomous vehicle comes upon this situation, it's got to decide which road rules it's going to violate. Do I go on the left side of the median, which is oncoming traffic, or do I stay on the road and go through a work zone? So it's really important from the federal level to support this effort to get this information to the autonomous vehicle so they can understand their environment before they head out and increase the likelihood of making a good decision. And this person is going to make a bad decision right here. Why they were compelled to drive around that cone and back on their way, I have no idea. But this is an example of why this is important. You just do not know how people are going to react to these things. So that is the end of our presentation, and Teresa and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? Commissioner.
Are all jurisdictions employing the Nexar technology?
All jurisdictions have access to it, and we've been working with all of them to get them access so they can figure out for themselves how they're going to use the tool. Some are more active than others, but everybody has access, including NDOT.
Commissioner.
Yeah, so, thank you very much. I was slightly confused when I was driving down the street there. I wasn't
That
sure.
was you?
Yeah, it was me. but hey, I didn't hit anything, so no harm, no foul. No, this is I really like the idea. I'm not a technology guy, but the potential for this, helping us out in determining traffic patterns, it's amazing. This though is mostly for RTC and larger like city projects. So, like for instance, there'll be crews that go out at night and they'll block off a few lanes. They don't have any access to this information or the system, correct?
Well, they can have access to it for sure. There's kind of two levels of support: the work zone, the smart work zones, and the specification that we've put together. That's intended for the larger capital projects that we fund, the maintenance projects that we fund, where they're going to be large devices, long-term closures, that types of thing, those types of things, and that is. The ultimate goal is to bring all that information into Teresa's Traffic Management Center so our operators can see it and manage traffic based on a complete picture of what's going on out there. The other piece of the puzzle is that Nexar data, where that's out there actively looking for work zones that are not necessarily even permitted. Or those work zones that are permitted, but maybe they're up too early or down too late. So it can be a force multiplier for the agencies on the enforcement side, so we can find not just those work zones that are permitted with the devices in them, but pretty much everything that's out there. That's the ultimate goal. So there's two levels.
I really appreciate that because again, I'll have inquiries from residents who they're wondering, hey, how come all of a sudden this street is blocked off? And I have no idea. Then I'll ask my public works guys, and they're like, well, we didn't know about that one either. It didn't come through the permitting process. So this actually takes us to the next level there. So thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to more implementation on this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners?
Yes, looking at the data from accidents or incidents, is someone looking at that aggregately or to see if there are certain areas where accidents seem to be frequent and then trying to analyze, is there something we can do to change the roads or signage or something?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. Thank you so much. Yes, we are looking at all of that data. We're looking at it as it comes in month by month. We're also sharing that data with our partners like NDOT to determine how quickly the clearances of major incidents are happening. And then also if there are reoccurring locations where there does seem to be a need to study it further to understand if there's a reason to use mitigation measures at those locations.
But following up on that, so if you find an area that looks like there should be some change, what do you do? Or
What do we do specifically? What we'll do is we'll collect that information, we'll review it within our team, and then what we'll do is then we'll engage the other agencies. Since we are the operators on behalf of the state and local agencies, we share that with the other agencies, their traffic engineering staff and their field technicians if it's regarding a signal or something like that. And then what we'll do is we'll work on a strategy of what can best be done to improve those situations.
Thank you.
And I think it's important, Teresa, you also share with, we co-locate with Highway Patrol. So obviously this is an opportunity when they get the data to use an enforcement method where they may concentrate officers in one area because they received some information from the FAST team.
Absolutely, yes, thank you.
And I'd encourage commissioners to get out to FAST and take a look at that facility. It's pretty incredible, the work that they do out there. So thank you very much. And certainly we're excited to see the changes that might come from that adaptive signal project that's on Eastern, because that might help us all in all of our communities look at how we move traffic more efficiently. So certainly technology is playing a big role in the future of transportation.
Absolutely agreed. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I get all geeked out here on traffic. They did a great job. It was a great team at FAST, I'll tell you. So the next item is to receive the NDOT Director's Report from Director Christina Svala.
Thank you, MJ, and it's good to be here with all of you. And I think my report is shorter than it's been the last couple months, but it's still not short. Sorry, I'll get through it as fast as I can. So as you know, our #1 goal across the department is safety. Our design, engineering, construction, maintenance, and operations begin with safety in mind and strive to obtain it for everyone. As you can see on the slide, overall statewide, the number of lives lost on Nevada roads was down 6% in February compared to February of last year. But here in Clark County, that data isn't reflecting the same trend. Crashes were up by 4% so far this year. Fatalities have increased by 11% so far this year compared to last year. Year over year, pedestrian deaths are up 9% in Clark. Motorcyclist fatalities climbed a staggering 75%, with 7 motorcycle riders losing their lives here in the region in February of 2021. Just last Sunday, a motorcyclist lost his life, and his passenger was hospitalized after an early morning crash on US 95 near Eastern Avenue. The riders were traveling in the northbound lanes when their motorcycle went down for an unknown reason. Both riders were ejected, after which the operator of the motorcycle was struck by a car that was driving behind them. The man operating the motorcycle died at the scene, and his passenger was taken to UMC with non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the crash is not known, and officials do not know if impairment was a factor, but it's a reminder for us as drivers to give space, not just to pedestrians, not just to pedal cyclists, bicyclists, but also to motorcyclists. You never know what can happen, and they don't have the protection of a vehicle around them. And then it wasn't part of my notes, but I wanted to take a minute to acknowledge our partners in operating the system. 2 nights ago, a tow truck driver was killed by a hit-and-run driver while working to clear the road. And I just want to make sure everybody understands that it takes all of us to make and keep our roads safe. You know, engineering is, of course, a critical part, and Teresa and JP mentioned, and to Commissioner Segerblum, where there is a chance for us to engineer safer roads, we are working on doing that. But emergency response is also a critical part, and those emergency responders aren't just those with the sirens. It's also the tow truck drivers and those that come and help clear the roads. They are critical. Enforcement, of course, is part of it, in making sure that we keep those that aren't driving safely safe. But really, most importantly, it's every single one of us being safe on the roads. And it takes all of us, and unfortunately, sometimes some of our team members do lose their lives. And in this case, they were killed by a hit-and-run driver. So I wanted to acknowledge it because it was simply 2 nights ago. and it has impacted their family and our family as well. So I do want to move on to HOV. It's one of our favorite topics here at the RTC, and it's been a minute since we've talked about it. So I wanted to provide you with an update. As you know, our HOV lanes have been in operation in the Las Vegas region for over a decade. And at the completion of Project Neon, we made some changes to the operations of the HOV system, and they began operating 24/7. You know as well as I do, we received a lot of public feedback about the operating hours, and we committed at that time to really look at the system and see if there was anything that we could do while continuing to ensure the effectiveness of the lanes as well as the safety on the network overall. So in the fall, we completed our internal data analytics on that. And we determined that there was cause for us to ask Federal Highways for permission to change the hours of operation for a pilot study. So they approved that, and the RFP for the pilot study went out in late February. Proposals are due next week. We're in the process of hiring a consultant and a vendor who will help us navigate the on-system pilot. We did the off-system on the data. It looks like it'll be okay. They're going to do the on-system pilot. Initially, their first step of action once they're hired will be to determine what those hours are. So they're going to check and put in sensors data. They're going to check with the RTC on the sensors we already have, make sure what we have is good, put in new where we need to, and guess at what those hours of operation should be. Once they figure that out, they'll roll out pilot hours. We anticipate the pilot study will go into effect in terms of the hours of operation, either late this year or early next year. Once that goes into effect, they'll be studying it for 18 months, giving us 3-month updates. And they're going to be looking at data such as the traffic volumes in all of the lanes, the general purpose lanes, the HOV lanes. They're going to look at speeds in the general purpose lanes, in the HOV lanes. They're going to look at crashes and HOV occupancy. So they're going to be looking at a lot of different metrics, giving us an update every 3 months. We're hoping that at the end of 18 months, we'll have the final hours of operation recommendation. It could be back to 24/7. It could be something less than that. If they guess at the hours and they're overly conservative, and at the end of the 18 months they think we could go a little further, we may extend the pilot just to make sure that we get the best hour of operations for the effectiveness and efficiency of the system. But I want you to know, either at the end of this year or early next year, we should be rolling out with less than 24/7 hours to pilot the study and see what works. The other thing I want to say is if after 3 months we see a significant increase in crashes, if there's something that's not working, we will stop the pilot early. We do not want anything that we do in this space to jeopardize the safety on the roadway network. So just wanted to give you an update. I know it's something that everybody's been asking for. It went quiet during the early hours, the early days of COVID, but it's starting to come back up again, so I want to let you know we're still working on it. I have 2 updates on downtown Las Vegas improvements. The first is that we are getting ready to start with a $40 million rehabilitation of the viaduct. This project was awarded at our board meeting on Monday. The project will include, so it extends from I-15 to the Eastern Avenue interchange and includes bridge work on the Desert Inn Bridge at 95. It will include refurbishing of the viaduct structure overall, some making deck repairs, adding a new pavement overlay, and some work on the ramp hinges and some seismic retrofits. It also will restripe southbound 515 or 95 to provide an additional lane from I-15 to Eastern. We're hoping that'll help move vehicles through the corridor more effectively and efficiently. And like I said, it will include replacement of the bridge decks at Eastern and Desert Inn, which is partially funded with the federal grant we received in 2019. Construction is tentatively scheduled to begin in later this spring, I think actually April, and will be complete by mid-2022. I'm making sure you're aware of it, and we're doing all the public outreach because it means that we'll be down some lanes on the viaduct for the duration of that construction. We're hoping to maintain 2 lanes in each direction at all times, but there may be times when we need to do further constraints. The other part is, as you know, we're actively working on the Downtown Access Project, which is the full replacement of the viaduct. And as a result of that, some of the local roads underneath the viaduct that currently exist, we may close some of those permanently. We want to make sure we don't do that without proper and complete community feedback. And so on Monday, we started temporary closures. Right now, for the first 3 weeks of these temporary closures, so from March 8th to March 28th, it's a partial closure. Traffic can still go, but it's going to feel a little bit tight, so we put some cones and some signage up. Sidewalks will be open. Cones and signage say, call us, go to our website, and give us your thoughts and your feedback. The last 2 weeks of this temporary closure, from March 29th to April 12th, will be full closures for vehicles on these roads, and I'm going to just tell you which ones they are. 7th, 8th, 10th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 19th, and 21st. All of those, and again, we're directing anyone who has feedback either to our website, ndot.dap.com, or to call our community feedback line, which I don't have. The website is in English and Spanish. The community feedback line, anyone calling it, will leave a message and we'll call them back with somebody who either speaks English or Spanish accordingly, because we want to make sure we're getting their feedback. The feedback will be, what are the benefits of these closures? What are the drawbacks of these closures? How often do you use these roads? Are there other roads that you could use? We're really wanting to make sure we're getting good feedback from the community, because we don't want to close a road and then find out after the fact. I should note that this downtown access project is a longer term project. So we're in the environmental phase right now, which is why we're doing all this community feedback. By early 2023, we should have the preferred alternative selected. And then we'll start with the right-of-way, the design, the full construction later after that. But I wanted everyone to know, in case you're hearing feedback or you're seeing the press on it, we're trying this. This is a different way, but we think if we do a temporary closure, we're going to get more feedback than if we just send out flyers. And we sent, I think, over 9,000 flyers to the community. We're going to have people standing out there. We're really working on trying to get good feedback on these corridors. And then lastly, as you're aware, Tracy retired, and we did a big thing for that in January. And I wanted to make sure we didn't leave that deputy position, who's required to have a location here in the South. I didn't want to leave it vacant. Unfortunately, I didn't have. It's hard to appoint into this position. And I have to go through a full recruitment. So you may recall in November, I was announcing I was so excited to promote Jeff into our leadership team. Jeff LaRude, he has graciously accepted to be the acting Deputy Director of Operations and Maintenance. So he is filling that role as the deputy that's required to be here in the South. As you know, he already is in the South. He's worked with us before. He's done presentations, very familiar with our network and our needs down here in Southern Nevada. He's going to be acting in that role until I can do a full recruitment and permanently fill the position. And you may start seeing him here in my stead if I'm unavailable, or I'll be online still or something. But that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Swallow. And I know Jeff has actually reached out to our municipality, and I suspect to others, just to update them and let them know that he's on board and committed, and we appreciate that. Question about road closures. Do you also reach out to like the mapping devices like Google Map and folks like that to let them know that there's going to be a closure or a temporary closure?
Yeah, that is part of whenever we do closures, and it's also part of the whole process as we work with FAST as well. Yeah, so that is part of the process when we do, because it's a permit, there's cones, yeah.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Commissioner.
Yeah, just real quick, do you happen to have like a map that you can upload to me on those closures in the downtown area?
The best place to go would be our website. So it's ndot.dap, dog, apple, Paul, ndot.dap.com. And that way you can see all of the closures, what we're proposing right now, what that project's going to look like. I'll also try and send you a link.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much, Director Swallow. We appreciate your update.
Great, thank you. Item 42 is our standing legal item, and there are no matters to bring before the board at this time, so we'll move on to the next item, which is to conduct your final citizens participation period.
Thank you. This is the second time set aside for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak to the board, now is your opportunity. Please come forward to the microphone to provide your comments and state your name for the record. Do we have any public comments here in the audience? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to, again, we had a great event, Commissioner Segerlund and I, yesterday with all the senior leadership and the fantastic media team. And great opportunity to talk to our transit riders along the Sahara corridor. So I just wanted to thank everybody who was involved and look forward to doing it again sometime.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you,
And
Commissioner.
thank you, Madam Chair. Just to reiterate what Justin said, it was a fantastic trip, learned a lot, and hope you're not sore from having to ride your bike all the way out there.
Did you ride? I love it.
It was a great event. It's always great to be able to talk to the customers in real time, riding this system. We had such positive feedback. I asked Francis to plant those customers there because it was just great though. So we really appreciate your leadership and enjoyed again getting to experience that with you.
That's wonderful. Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak? Is there anyone who's online who has posted a comment to the RTC that wishes to have their comment read?
Yes, Madam Chairwoman, we have two.
Thank you.
The first one is from Ms. Robin Kincaid. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Robin Kincaid, and I am speaking today as concerned constituent who is interested in all Nevadans having access to transportation services in their community. My daughter Kayla is a young adult with disabilities, lives in the service area, and uses paratransit services. We have always lived in the service area, but that does not help her gain access to essential services because of the inlets and restrictions within the current service area. Once again, the population in our community is growing, but what is also continuing to increase is the number of persons with disabilities who cannot reach businesses and essential services because decisions made by RTC staff. I have been speaking to the Commission for over 2 years, and I still cannot obtain the process used to either determine the fixed route or open the inlet areas so that there is access to post offices, churches, appointments, schools, and other essential services. I urge the Commission to consider the following. Explore a premium rate for paratransit services beyond the federally required minimum service area. Please consider adding this to the April agenda. Since the FTA awarded more than $61 million in grants, please consider using this money to finally provide the needed services to areas that are still waiting for services. Many of these locations in the city have been established for over 20 to 25 years, but are underserved areas, and the citizens that live there deserve access to transportation services. Provide a step-by-step process that helps the community understand how established areas of our city who cannot receive any service be able to receive paratransit services. Paratransit riders are not second-class citizens that must be told where to live, where to work, and where to recreate. It is important that the Commission and the public work together to make our community a welcome place for persons with disabilities. I would like to bring to your attention the following concern. Although my daughter did receive some instruction and understand her text notifications that are military time, it is still difficult for her and requires her to locate her sheet to convert to AM/PM time. Why are persons with disabilities singled out to receive communication in this format? Other notifications and materials to persons without disabilities do not have to complete this conversion. Could someone on the Commission obtain an explanation for this requirement? As Commission members, I urge you to ask RTC staff questions and work with the community members to resolve issues and try to understand that persons with disabilities deserve access to transportation services that meet their needs. Thank you. Our next public comment is from Ms. Stephanie Versnick. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Stephanie Versnick. I am testifying before you for the 37th time. I am a mom speaking on behalf of my son, Christian, who does not drive due to his autism. I have been testifying each month, consistently for over 3 years, asking this Commission to expand the service area in this community. These are still challenging times for our community. Our city is starting to slowly open. People are trying to get used to a new way of life, trying to find their new normal. I have noticed more traffic on our roads, more jobs coming back, more people getting vaccinated. Some of our schools are starting a hybrid model. However, many more people are still in isolation because of COVID and isolation because they have no transportation, especially people with disabilities. Many people with disabilities have no access to transportation, my son included. I am my son's transportation, so he can continue to work. When I am not here or no longer able to transport him, he won't have a job due to not having transportation. My son enjoys his job of 18 years. He loves being independent, Doesn't everyone have the right to live a full, meaningful life? On February 14th, I read an article in the Review Journal stating that the FTA had awarded the RTC $61 million in response to the ongoing pandemic impact. According to Representative Dina Titus, she said, "Public transit is a critical resource for frontline workers, seniors, and individuals with disabilities in this time of need." End of quote. The article also states that early in the pandemic, the RTC was losing about $5 million in revenue per month. The pandemic began in March of 2020, so it's been a year this month. That calculates to $60 million in loss. The RTC is receiving $61 million from the FTA. Additionally, the RTC received $112 million in the CARES Act funding. To me, the numbers are not adding up, and I'm wondering where is all the money going? I know it's not going to expand the service area for people with disabilities who don't have transportation. As I have stated many times in my previous testimony, transportation is not a luxury, it is an essential service. Until the service area is expanded, I will continue to testify and ask this commission to develop an affordable premium service plan option for people who live outside of the service area. In the last 13 months, I have not heard from anyone regarding my request. There has been no attempt to communicate with me regarding this option. No phone call, no email, nothing. Again, I am requesting to have a proposed affordable premium service plan added to the April's agenda and ask this commission to be prepared to discuss and vote. I am again hoping that my request is recognized and not ignored for the 13th time. Madam Chairwoman, this concludes your public comments for this period.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here wishing to speak that didn't have an opportunity? Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close this item, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.